Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Volusia Flagler Cares, where we put a spotlight on nonprofit groups, organizations, fundraisers, events, anything we can to help out the people that need it in both Volusia and Flagler counties. Today we have a great guest, and I got really lucky because her assistant just stayed on it and provided, the right circumstance, and we were able to get Susan Moor, and Susan is the Chief Philanthropy Officer. And, not that you don't get asked about that, but I got to ask about that. That's a great title.
Sure. Hi, it's nice to meet you, Kelly. Nice to be on today. Thank you. I appreciate the ask. Yes, Chief Philanthropy Officer is really an homage to the word philanthropy, which means that giving and participating in giving is really a broader conversation than just the ask and just solicitation. It's really engaging people in the mission that we do. It's talking to people year round. It's good stewardship. It's good advocacy. It's good PR and marketing. And so philanthropy just means that instead of raising dollars, we really try to create partners, create collaborators. We try to work in the community to engage people towards our mission that will help us be sustainable for a long time.
Gosh, you got that like perfected. Was that the elevator speech?
That was actually. You're not the first person that's asked.
But it does go to the fact that, you're almost your entire existence has been in philanthropic organizations and, from the bottom up. And proud local graduate of Stetson University. I had her.
Go ahead.
But, just to even get into that and kind of dedicate your life is tremendous. But to kind of, not just phone it in and get the jumps and to get the people learning and knowing. I mean, there's more than anything, it is exposure.
Absolutely.
No matter what it is, you got to have that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think for Easterseals, and I'm not sure how much of the audience is familiar with Easterseals as an organization, but we've been around more than 100 years nationally and actually a little more than 75 years locally. And we are the trusted local expert for disability services. And so it's important to us that as we raise awareness and raise dollars and we serve people, that we're also advocating for people that have a disability. 1 in 4 Americans has a disabling condition or will in their lifetime. So it's a huge population of people that are either directly affected or will encounter someone in their family that
exactly, indirectly, how many people are affected. And it's not just, a physical thing. It's, almost every family that goes through a traumatic physical, whether it's autism, that's for life. They'll never have, more than the next paycheck,
Potentially,
the sisters will never get the beautiful prom dresses. I mean, it goes so much deeper, than just this. And not saying that, it's a burden and it's a problem, but I'm just pointing out that all of this has much more of an effect than just the person that has, through no fault of their own, become afflicted with something that's debilitating.
Yeah. Well, you make a couple of really good points. Your first one is that the mere definition of disability has changed considerably over time. So 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was very clear a person that had a physical impairment had a disability.
Right.
And now we're seeing that definition has expanded to include people with intellectual, behavioral, social, emotional, learning disabilities. And so it's a broader definition. And in the classic sense, people with, quote, invisible disabilities, ones that you can't see outwardly, ones that are not physically manifested, are a greater population. And then you are exactly right. I think what most people don't realize is that when you have a loved one in your family that has a disabling condition, everyone in the family is a caregiver and plays to that role and learns
Yes.
a lot about what's required to be effective in that role. And sometimes it's hard. And so we like to, at Easterseals, partner with families as well. It's important that they understand how they can help their loved one. In our particular case in the Daytona area, we have focused for many years, almost 75, on pediatrics. So we serve the
Hmm.
littles, the 0 to 3s in our early intervention program. And it's an incredibly important time for families to help understand how they can interact with their child who may or may not have a different type of ability,
Sure.
but how they can best get what their child needs and how they can interact in a way that's going to help the entire family. So you made a couple of good points, and thank you for that.
Well, like I say, you always hear it takes a village, but it goes beyond that. And the unfortunate side of this is um, it can be something that the rest of the family does have to deal with. But let's talk on a positive note.
Sure, sure.
You guys do so much, and I was really surprised. I didn't know that that Easterseals went beyond just children.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think we typically in the Daytona area have served little ones, and that's kind of our sweet spot. That's what we're known for. We do have the early intervention, and that's the Part C, or the state's pot of money, to make sure
Hmm.
that children born up to 3 years old have everything that they need if they develop signs of a disabling condition. So that program is all about early screening, early identification, early intervention and services for the family to make sure
Hmm.
that they get served. But then, we worry about what happens to those kids when they're 3, right? What happens when they leave the early steps program at 3? What is in store for the family then? What happens when they have an autism diagnosis or they're highly suspect of? How does the diagnostic process go? What does
Hmm.
that look like? What professionals need to be involved? Behavior. How is that identified? What are the barriers to getting services even? What happens when our young ones are in middle school? What happens when they're in a time where differences are really, really highlighted, right? So differences are,
Sure.
are not cool anymore in middle school. What happens then? We have services for that. What happens when those kiddos grow up and they're out of public school and they're 22 and they've graduated from all of the myriad of services? What happens then? So we worry about that too, and we continue to try to make sure that if we can't serve them, that we partner with organizations that can. So we always want to be that lifetime resource. We want to be that continuum of care. So
Right.
we have really honed our expertise and partnered with a lot of great organizations that will help create that pipeline for families to stay
Well,
in our care.
I believe it's called, and I was so glad to see this as one of the services that you address, which is, aging out.
Yeah, transition.
And it is one of these things that in the past has just been a hard cut. You're 18, goodbye.
Yeah,
Go
transition.
fend for yourself.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's something that we've been worried about for years, and our staff has been worried about for years. We've had many of our school therapists who work in Volusia County schools and do PT and OT, who or see kids in the clinic on Dunn Avenue, who are asking those questions. Who are asking what happens when my little one or my child turns 18. I have a 26-year-old child who started Easterseals services when he was just a few months old. And I had the same concerns and questions. Where do they go? What happens? How do they find dignity? How do they find value? How do they find
Right.
their tribe? um, so we have launched into what we call transition services. And we're working with some of the local high schools in a program called Strive, and that's sort of like social skills and workforce prep. And then the transition is just because you're a young person with a disability doesn't mean that you don't have options. You very much do, but you need someone by your
Right.
side to care for you and help you discover those special skills.
Well, a one of my best friends, his grandson on the spectrum, obviously, and there's no guidebook for him. There's no, okay, this is how you do this, make sure you got this. And I first learned, I didn't know anything about autism. It was just, other people out of sight, out of mind. And I was working for a laboratory that tested for food allergies,
Mm-hmm.
blood testing. So this wasn't just scratching on the back or none of that. This is the real deal. And it really did. They found how many different times there was something that was not interacting correctly with the body. And even if it wasn't directly causing something, it was indirectly causing an inflammation, which then made whatever it was worse. So, but the whole point was it got down to diet. And we had several different mothers that, I mean, they were just like, we really, this is one of the things that we can control. And they were pretty adamant, but
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
many people have tried everything,
Yeah. So I'm not a clinician. I'm a fundraiser, and I'm a mom, and I'm a staff person that sees families every day who receive services. And I would say, um, you know, you're right in that autism doesn't have its own look and feel. My child, for example, he was born with a very rare genetic disorder, and thank goodness for us, there wasn't a path. Right, there weren't 12 other people that we knew that had this particular genetic
Right.
disorder. And so for us, for my family, we just had to learn, how does he operate, right? How does he survive? How does he think? How does he act? How does he interpret the world around him? And that's not any different from our young ones or our teenagers with autism. What we try to teach families is that they can learn, they can improve their toolkit, they can learn some skills that will help them interact better, help them to dive into their child's world and see it from those glasses, right? To see it from that perspective. And it's a beautiful thing. So Easterseals knows that 1 out of 31 is the latest prevalence rate. 1 out of 31 young
Wow.
ones
That's
are
a huge
diagnosed on the
number.
spectrum. So what we do know is we have families that are waiting now for support and have those questions and need to understand what they're seeing. And we're all parented differently, right? We're all parented, and we parent from our frame of reference. And when you have to swatch that frame of reference to a different um, way of seeing your child, it takes someone alongside you to make sure that that's easy to do and that you're along the right track. So fortunately, we have lots of experts. We've been doing autism diagnosis here locally for more than 20 years, and we still do autism screening and diagnosis. So just consider Easterseals to be the place that you can go for help and hope and answers, and we hope that we have that available for as many families that need that.
Okay, so we've talked about the early intervention, we've talked about autism diagnosis and support, but you do pediatric therapy services as well, correct?
We do occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech and language therapy, and then we do
Wow.
some pretty innovative behavior supports. But yeah, so one thing that might sound funny, I'll use my own child as an example. He started receiving speech therapy when he was just 3 months old. And you
Okay.
may look at that and say, well, why? Children are talking when they're 3 months old. But in his particular case, he had a structural abnormality of his um, interior of his mouth. He had a cleft palate, so he had some
Mm-hmm.
features that made good oral motor development impossible for him. And so speech therapy is a lot more than just articulation and S's and R's. It's about language, it's about communication, it's about being able to form. In his case, it was about learning how to nurse and learning how to swallow and learning how to use the oral motor parts of his
Right.
body in a different way that his body wasn't allowed to do. And then we do physical therapy, and all of us are familiar with that. When you have an injury, you go to the physical therapist and you get back to whatever function you had before you started. But for little ones, sometimes if they are born with a congenital issue, they need
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to use their bodies as they are. And so physical therapy can help with those gross motor skills. Um, my son needed that. He needed to really learn how to hold his head up because he had a very large, heavy head. He had hydrocephalus, which is water on the brain. And it was hard. Those
Mm-hmm.
little tiny neck muscles didn't work. So he had to go through physical therapy at a young age. And occupational therapy is all about daily living and all about fine motor skills, and very, very helpful for young ones who need to learn how to um, keep attention to task or figure out how to sequence projects. Um, it's not just enough to say, watch me make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, now you make one. Maybe some
Right.
children need to learn what are the steps in that. How do I sequence that out? How do I plan it? What is that executive function in my brain telling me to do, and how can I alter that? So we do those services and we do them well. We have a really talented team that are doing those. For families that have identified needs by their pediatrician. So those are medically based services, and people can
Mm-hmm.
go to their pediatrician. We do a lot of marketing with that team. We spend time
Wow.
talking to them about what they're looking for as
Uh-huh.
pediatricians and as family practice specialists, and how we can help partner and where we can take their expertise and send it over to Easterseals for that support.
And you do all of that coordination and mapping and everything together. That's tremendous,
Yeah, we have
Susan.
a
Man, that's
really
just,
lovely team of people that are dedicated to making sure
you
those
would
things
have to. It
happen.
would have to be. I mean, this is just what most people don't realize is this is the Easterseals of Florida. So you guys cover, and again, we're going to put the graphic up,
Yeah.
but
You sound
you
good.
guys cover what, 67 communities or counties
We cover
in,
42 out of
okay,
Florida's 67 counties. Yes, we
got
do.
it.
We serve, all told, we probably serve directly in direct care over 35,000 individuals throughout the state in a variety of different services. And when you show the graphic, you'll see that they truly range from the littles to the older persons in their elderly population.
And well, I was looking, and some of them have early steps, some of them have adult daycare.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I would think that they'd be both of those for everybody, but again, for you to
Yeah.
put together what you have put together and to offer those services
Yeah.
for for people that can't really ask for it themselves, don't know they need it, and then there's the people who are their guardians who are just looking for help in providing help for them.
Yeah. And, Kelly, something that you mentioned is really important. We do have in different areas, we do have different services. And I think that's important for our donors and our friends to know is that we can't do it all, right? We know we can't do it all. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
great need. And so the wonderful thing about our affiliate structure, we're part of a national quote movement, but we're still very locally owned and operated by a local board of directors. And we don't have to be all things that Easterseals can offer in every community. We
I got you.
prefer to do where there are gaps, where there are not other
Mm-hmm.
fine organizations providing services, or where there are gaps in services. So we hope in almost most of the communities that we can serve that we can meet a need, fill a gap, bring that expertise across the state to the communities that need it most, and we don't have to do it all. We're happy to partner. We like to play nice in the sandbox with people.
Well, and it takes that because what you don't want is duplicity of effort.
Never, no.
And you don't want to, constantly be, hey, give me money.
Right.
So there's, you just got to learn how to ride that line. Believe me, I'm the lieutenant governor for Kiwanis. Well, I know every bit of this. We go through it. And again, it's like, you got to be able to feather that throttle to where, you always want to go forward, but you don't want to overwhelm or get beyond that.
Yeah.
But I guess another thing that you've got these kids, they've gone through some of these other things, and now they're either in high school or they're getting out of high school.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What would they be doing, and how could you help them?
Sure. That's a fairly newer program for us. We've only been doing our what we call transition or workforce development programs locally in Daytona, in Volusia Flagler for just a couple of years. So we have a vocational rehab contract, and as young people are entering that world, leaving the safety net of private services through Easterseals and the school system, public school, then they can apply through vocational rehab to receive lots of services. And we are a vendor for them. And so we do everything from job discovery, which is, what can I do? What are my skills? Expose me to a couple of things so I can understand what even jobs are out there that might be appropriate for me, to job coaching, to job, resume building and skills and life skills and all the things that would help a young person feel comfortable. We have a really nifty program, which I'm very proud of, that we borrowed from our friends across the state. Excuse me. That's called Strive. And what that does is it provides like industry certifications, but they're adapted towards our population. So when our kids go through the Strive program, they're really learning how to receive an industry certification in healthcare as a CNA or as a hospitality worker. But they're literally earning a certification that those industry groups recognize as quality and a quality employee. So we do that program in the high school so that by the time these young people finish, they can graduate high school and they can compete for that job at the hospital or at one of the local hotels. But they have an extra certification that's recognized by their industry.
All things considered, you're going to go with the one that's got the, really, who wouldn't?
Right. So we have a team of job specialists here that really work with young people. They're fantastic. They draw out, what do I want to do? What am I capable of? And I'll tell you, again, from my own son's experience, there's a huge amount of dignity in work. People sort of assume that people with disabilities or young people even with or without disabilities don't want to work, but that's not true. There's an amazing amount of value that you get emotionally, internally, spiritually, socially from being in the workforce and for bringing value to a good work day. One of the things that most people don't understand as well is that there's a huge variety of capability in some of the clients that we serve. Huge level of capability. So not every young person that has a disability is cognitively impaired, for example. Some have those other types of diagnoses that are more intellectual or behavioral or emotional, but they may be highly intelligent and highly capable of handling a pretty important task. So our team really tries to pull that out of the people that come through that program so that they can really place them effectively in a business that's going to benefit from their work ethic and from their capability as well.
Wow. You don't always get that pairing, somebody willing to go through the time that it takes to, okay, what do you like? What
Yeah.
are you good at?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's a lot of time spent with employers. So for employers that are businesses that are out there,
Mhm.
part of that task is helping employers understand how a non-traditional student or a non-traditional
Worker.
talent can fill a gap and what it might take. And so to reduce that barrier of, I imagine it might be very costly for me as an employer to hire a person with a disability. My experience tells me that's probably not going to work for me, but our team is really effective at helping employers understand this person may only need this one single accommodation to be able to be efficient and effective
Right,
here.
right.
Right, and it's
You
not
know, it could be
costly.
even,
Right.
hard of hearing or the visually
Exactly.
impaired or,
Yeah.
anything. But
Right.
yeah, like you say, just can you put a handrail right here? We're good to go,
Exactly, exactly. So a lot of it is that advocacy, is that working with the businesses, helping them understand where they can look beyond the person, and helping them maybe take a chance on someone that could turn out to be one of your most loyal and productive and effective employees, depending on what your need is.
Absolutely. So, what's the me in progress thing you got going on, Susan?
Yeah, thank you. Um,
I mean, that just sounds like, you know, something that 10, 20 years from now is going to really be a
yeah,
major entity.
yeah. Yeah, so it actually kind of came to us, the reality that a lot of the young people that we see and a lot of the young people that are not doing very well are suffering, and just in general,
Hmm.
teenagers are, mental health is a huge issue for teenagers. And um, a lot of our young people are very capable, but they're just not thriving. They're in that generation um, where everything that they're about is social media, and it can be very damaging and it can be very isolating and very lonely. So
Yeah.
we had many of our professionals that we work with, some of our psychiatrists, psychologists from the schools, and from some of our pediatricians, really telling us that anxiety and depression for teenagers was spiraling and was the epidemic of our day. And when we looked into it, it truly was. So because Easterseals in those programs that I mentioned earlier is really all about wellness. It's about where are we today and what skills can we teach you that will help you get through daily living,
Yeah.
that will help you thrive. Since that's our mantra, I suppose, or that's what we're most known for, it just seemed important that if we were to try to take a stab at helping these young people, what would it look like? It would look like teaching them skills. And that's what
Hmm.
MIP is all about. It's called Me in Progress, and it's sort of counseling coached in support, direct support, so that in a fun atmosphere, so that young people just have that support. They
Yeah.
can
You,
be
you
one
have
of
to.
yeah, one of the terms that one of the psychiatrists asked us is, please help these kids. They are not resilient at all. They don't know how to be resilient. They don't know how to bounce back when life punches them down. And especially if they do have a diagnosis of anxiety and depression,
Hmm.
it's just hard to find that. So, MIP is a supportive program where we work alongside the kids and we show them what are the things that you could learn to do that help you to feel well, right? Like all of us, even as adults, are handling some of these same issues, but we've learned in our lives how to bounce back. We've learned that when I get
Sure.
really stressed at work, I might need to take a walk. I might need to take a hot bath. I might need to learn a
Hmm.
new learn a new sport, or I might need to read more, or self care. So it's just exposing the young people to some of those things, but it's also couched in supportive environment with counselors available, and an actual program that helps them ask those questions, and where
Yeah.
can they find solace, and where can they learn those skills that are going to help them feel whole and be whole all throughout their lifetime. I'm really proud of that program, actually. Thanks for
Well,
asking
and you
about it.
should be, because it sounds a lot. like some of the veteran services
Yes, not
to where, the peer groups kind of work together.
Yep.
There's,
Yep.
and again, there's probably nothing as traumatic as what these veterans have been through, but it's all relative to the individual.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we're finding, some of our young people they may get through the day, but they may not come out of their bedroom all weekend, right? They may get through high performing academics, but they don't know how to take care of their own needs. Like,
Yeah.
so we're seeing it a lot, and we did get validation from a lot of our partnering physicians that this is an issue, and we reached out to some partners. We got some grant funding. Thank you to Flagler Cares, who gave us the initial pot of money, and Florida Blue Foundation, which have invested in us. We did get some money from some partners who said, yeah, I think you might be onto something. Let's start with our young people and give them some skills and show them that they can control their destiny when they're able to realize that they have that power.
When I got separated from the Air Force Academy, I went to apply, and got in the wrong line. Next thing I know, I'm in this thing called Job Corps. And it was almost the exact same thing. It was for kids that were, going down the wrong path. Most of them was, 98% it was that or jail. I didn't even know. I'm just like at the unemployment office talking to this guy. So I go to this place, but that's exactly, they taught these kids skills. Most of them had come in, addicted or whatever. So it was in Utah. There was no hope of, but what they did for them, like you say, is to really, it's, what do they say? Give a man a fish and he eats for a night, teach a man to fish and he eats for a lifetime. And those are, just truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah. And the way I, personally, when I first started thinking about, because I helped write the grant, um, you know, we know that when we get the flu, right, we have to do the things. We have to drink fluids. We have to have the chicken soup. We have to have the hot shower. We have to be on top of um, getting fresh air. So it's not different. It's really simple that we
Mhm.
just have to teach our young people that anxiety doesn't have to be a buzzword. Like you can
Yeah.
have things that make you feel sad, but you also have the ability to do things that help you to um, feel differently.
Well,
So,
and I mean, let me tell you,
again, I'm
I
not a
played
clinician, I'm a
I
fundraiser.
played 15 years of ice hockey,
Yeah.
and there was nothing. I mean, nothing like you're down, by 2 goals going into the third period, and out of nowhere, man, you just suck it up. You go and you blast it, and that feeling of overcoming when you're the underdog or when you're down, it's, those are growth uh emotions.
Yeah.
You don't always get the opportunity because it's like a teaching moment at the same time that, it is elation, it is great, and you did work hard, you deserve to celebrate. So I don't know where I was going with that, but
So that's MIP. That's MIP, and we're very proud of it. We have a program in Bunnell, and we have a program in New Smyrna at Edgar's Farm. And we haven't yet talked about Edgar's Farm, so if
that was the next thing I thought that we would discuss is Edgar's Farm.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we bought a farm. um, it's it's been a long time dream of Easterseals to have a recreational, outdoor, therapeutic, academic uh, place where we can do some different programs and help young people, help our kiddos, help our clients, help veterans to feel that peace that comes with being at a outside location and versus inside of the clinic. And so through a really wonderful turn of events, we had a private donor years and years ago that wanted us to own a camp. But we didn't need a camp because we already had a camp. So we used those dollars many years later to purchase the farm when it came for sale. So Easterseals owns 17 acres in New Smyrna off of Pioneer Trail.
Nice.
And it was a program that existed privately and had its own nonprofit that did therapeutic riding. So after we bought the property, we had a huge vision for it. We bought the barn and everything that came with the therapeutic riding program, except for the private boarding and private lessons that came with the
Right.
for-profit that owned it. We started doing services right away. So we bought the farm on one Friday, and then the following Monday, the staff put Easterseals t-shirts on and started continuing therapeutic riding. Therapeutic riding was called equine assisted services, and so it's a whole menu of services
Yes.
that are use the horse and the outdoor environment to get benefit from a session. And so we have therapeutic riding, which is more social emotional. That does not require a doctor's referral. It just requires a self referral with a doctor's approval for safe handling. And then we also do what's called hippotherapy. That's not what you might think. It's occupational or physical or speech language therapy using the horse as the tool. So that's an interesting program I'll get back to. And then we also have what we call equine mental health, which is, again, using the horse as the tool
Mm-hmm.
in a one-on-one or a group therapy session. The horses actually do a really good job of mirroring your emotions as a person. When you're scared, they're scared. When you are excited, they're excited. When you are hesitant, they're hesitant. So it creates a great platform for a licensed mental health practitioner to talk with people and have that be the medium instead of sitting on the sofa. So we do those services, and we have a huge vision for lots more. But anyone that wants to receive those services can call Easterseals, and we're very proud of that program.
Well, that is tremendous. I grew up in Colorado, so I did a lot of riding, had friends that had ranches and stuff, and
Yeah.
um, I can tell you that a horse has its own personality.
Sure.
So, when you're on the animal, it'll definitely kind of show you what's going on and let you know, but that's when you kind of know how you got to handle it.
Yeah, and in order to get the horse to do what you want it to do, you have to communicate. And so it's a really good opportunity for that social emotional learning for folks to be able to
Mm-hmm.
learn how to make this large animal perform
Sure.
and do. And we've got some real. I'm not an equine person, but I love being out there. It's peaceful. It's quiet. It's lovely. It's therapeutic. It's incredible. We do have a
I'll
huge
bet.
vision for the property. We're right in the middle of some approved construction projects right now, and when we're all done, we'll be bringing a lot more services. We'll be bringing some of our transition students who are young to work on the property, to work the farm, to learn those skills. We'll be bringing our some of our PTOT and speech down there, so it's more convenient for families who are getting everything that their child
Right.
needs. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, New Smyrna Beach is a very supportive
Yes, they
community.
are.
Again, in the Kiwanis, we did in August. They do it's like a prom, a ball. I mean, formal dress, the whole thing. Um, and for adults with Volusia County adults with disabilities.
Awesome. Thank you. That's awesome.
And man, I gotta tell you, it's what is it? The Taco Shack provides the food.
Nice.
And then, the Kiwanians and the Key Club members serve it. And
Nice.
after they're done, we have a DJ and a dance floor area. And the thing is this: these kids every day, they know what people are looking at them. They know all of this stuff. They can't get away from it. But that night, they're all the same. There is no disability.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just letting loose on the dance floor. It is just,
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
I mean it. It just
Yeah.
makes me so emotional.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm
Well,
so proud of it.
that's that feeling that you just described for that one night is really the feeling and the vision that we have for Edgar's Farm. We want that property to be a place where people with disabilities own it, run it, work it, and they invite the
Wow.
public in to see what they do, where their skills
Mm-hmm.
lie, where their performance lies, where their products lie. Come buy the flowers that I planted here. Come see the animals that I work with and feed and take care of every day. Come see what I do, and it's been a dream for the same reason that you just mentioned, and we're really excited about it. We bought the property 2 years ago. We're working through some construction to make it ADA compliant and to get some things that we need on property to bring the public in. But that'll happen in 2026. So keep us in your loop, and we'll try to keep everybody informed and invite them for a big party once we're ready. But therapeutic riding is happening now. Hippotherapy is happening now. Equine mental health, MIP is happening at the farm, and lots of other services to come.
Okay. So got to pay the bills.
Sure.
How do you get your money? You mentioned that you had received a grant, but that was for the specific program, correct?
Yes, that was for MIP. Good question. So, any and all funding sources that we can find, and any and all. So, that's a really good question. We do have a lot of contracts for direct service. We have monies from different government sources that are like Medicaid. We certainly bill insurance. We
Mm-hmm.
will take grants. We work with a lot of private foundations, corporate donors, corporate partners, people that leave money in their estates as a bequest. We have most of our clients pay for some of their care on a sliding fee scale. So participants do pay, or their third party payor pays. And so we have pretty much every funding source that you can imagine, and we spend a lot of time um, finding those as well. So that's the key part of philanthropy, is development and developing those resources and
Right.
making sure that parents who need our services can find them and have access to them in an affordable way. So lots and lots of different funding sources. Anywhere we can um, provide that support, we do.
Well, I guess people could. Is it too early to start signing up for Boots and Pearls?
It's not, and there's a discount code that I
Oh,
can send you. It's not too early. It's February 20th, and if they buy tickets before December, I think 8, before Christmas, there's a discount code that will get you a little bit of money off of that registration. Boots and Pearls is the most fun. It's held in New Smyrna, but it's not at our farm. It's held at the Bending
okay.
Branch Ranch. It'll be February 20th in 2026. It's an evening. Unlike any other, it's sort of the best part of a wedding without the wedding. It's just the fun parts of the reception. Um, it's an outdoor gala, but there's no dinner per se. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of line dancing and um, beer and wine, and there's axe throwing. There's bull riding. There's everything that you can imagine at what a hoedown would look like. It's super super fun, and we do sell out pretty quickly. So go ahead, and I'll make sure you get the link
We'll
for the
get, yeah,
discount.
we'll get that link out there too.
Okay. It's great fun, and it does raise money for those services for families who are underinsured. And what that typically means in our language is that they have health insurance, but the benefits of that particular plan don't cover the services that they need, which is sometimes
Yeah.
hard to understand when you have insurance. It's hard to understand why doesn't it pay for everything. Um, but sometimes it
Yeah.
doesn't. And then there's certainly
And those gaps are only going to get wider.
Yeah. So that the money from Boots and Pearls goes to help that fund.
Okay, so now let's talk a pair to remember.
That is, this will be the 22nd year, so I have not been.
Wow.
I have not been to everyone, but it's a group of ladies that decided that they wanted to have an upscale afternoon fashion show, fashion forward at the Mall of Millennia. And so March 6th of 2026 at the Mall of Millennia in Winter Park. It's a very exclusive ladies luncheon right smack in the middle of the mall. But it's very focused on fashion and shoes and purses and extravagant opportunities for gifts and experiences that you can earn through the auction. So it's a fundraiser for Easterseals Florida, and it's lovely. And tickets are still available, but they will also go fast. And I'm sure you'll put the link up for a pair to remember.
We will put the link up. Well, and again, you probably go to other nonprofit groups. You speak at other groups.
All the time. Yeah.
Okay, so if there's any nonprofit groups watching and you want one of your guest speakers, please get in touch with Susan. And again, we'll put that graphic up as well.
Very well. We would like that. We love to tell our story. We love to educate the community. We love to arm people to be good advocates for disability, and we love to be able to spend time and share time and build relationships as well. So we love that.
Well, then I guess it finally leads into the final subject, which I think is the best subject here: how to donate and volunteer.
Okay.
And again, we'll put those links up for sure. But what would somebody need to be a volunteer?
Sure. As you can imagine, because we do work with a very vulnerable population. For one-on-one volunteering, we do require you to apply through our HR office. But for events and for some of the outdoor farm-related things, especially for events, we use volunteers in a huge variety of ways. So we would love to have you volunteer. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stay with us long term. It could just be there for that afternoon. So we are recruiting volunteers for Boots and Pearls, for Pair to Remember, for at the farm. In the therapeutic riding, some of the volunteers learn. There's no experience required. You don't have to be a horse person, but the staff will teach you how to support the riders that are there with a variety of things like tacking and grooming and being able to cheerleading on the side while the clients are on the horse. So lots of opportunities, all available through our website. And you'll put that up. It's esfl.org. There's a big orange donate button on the top right. We would love for you to visit that and consider either making a one-time gift, year-end, or a recurring monthly. Mm-hmm. Again, all of those dollars go to support folks that are very vulnerable that also happen to have a disability across the programs that we serve. So we would love for you to partner with us there. There's also a link to get involved, and that get involved link has more information about the events as well as a link to volunteer.
Susan, we have covered a lot of ground here.
Yes, we did.
But, that's the beauty of a media like this. If you have a Coca-Cola budget, you can convey something in a 30, 60-second commercial. Everybody else, you need a little bit more time to kind of, but in your case, you provide so many different services and such a variety that, just listing them took this long.
And we didn't even get to them all. I will tell you that we have an excellent position, a staff person that's called our pediatric navigator. And so, mm-hmm. We've talked a lot about how folks can support Easterseals, but if you need support, if you need help, and you have no idea where to go for your child or your loved one that has a disability, please call us. If we don't do it, we're happy to refer you where, but our pediatric navigator is really adept at helping families kind of figure out what's the best next step, and where can I go and where should I go to get services for my child. So always feel free to call Easterseals if you have a question. And if we don't know the answer, we'll stay with you until we can find it.
And we'll put that 800 number up so everybody can see it and call it if they need it. I really appreciate you coming in. It's just been great. I think that anybody watching is also going to learn a lot more about what resources are available that you guys provide, and just, the wonderful people and everything that you guys do to keep it going.
We have a wonderful,
Fantastic.
caring team, and we'd be very honored to partner with you in any way. Thank you so much for your time today.
Well, let's see about maybe shooting some video when the parties start happening.
Okay. Sounds good.
Susan,
Good.
thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it, and can't wait to see that you get a good response.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for thinking of Easterseals. Take care.
Love it. Take care.
Mhm.
Bye bye.